I want to kind of get out of brainstorm mode here and try to just nail this down calmly. And a lot of it I've already said before. But we can defeat the globalist if we know who they are and how bad they are and really get people out of their trance to realize that they can't be spectators any longer. And as this system gets more and more abusive, even decadent slobs will start to wake up and try to do something. But the biggest issue here is teaching people they do have power. Doing little things against the system. Telling people about this radio broadcast. Telling people about books and films that expose the New World Order. Running for political office, even if you lose. Educating people. Where you spend your money. What you support. Growing a garden. Buying local. Getting healthy. And none of us are perfect. It's just moving in the right direction. Big things have small beginnings. Now, that said, how do we defeat this? Well, first off, we see the globalists want to divide and conquer everybody. And we see they want to get rid of borders and bring in globalism to replace our republic. So basically, anything the globalists are for, we need to be against. If they're for taking guns, there are intellectual arguments for guns, obviously. But we just know to be against gun control because the globalists are tyrants and want to take our guns to enslave us. So I don't debate or argue with them. That's why I didn't debate. In fact, I debated too much. I should have debated even less with Piers Morgan because he's not there to debate. He's a hatchet man. He's there to try to sell the disarmament and enslavement of our people, no matter what color they are. And we've got to come together for the real Bill of Rights and Constitution, the real civil rights, the real God-given rights, the real human rights of liberty and freedom. Not the right of a woman or the right of being black or the right of being Hispanic or the right of being an evil white person, which they see as the main middle class that's left to be taken down. And we've got to discredit the system like our lives depend on it because it does. It does depend on it. Now, that said, the way to defeat the globalist is a rediscovery of the Declaration of Independence, that it is our right and our duty to throw off oppressive bonds, and that we are the sovereigns, and that we are the officials, and that we are the authority, and that the government people are our servants, and that corporations buying off government to just raise taxes arbitrarily or fines or fees or shut down power plants, that's illegal. That the establishment can't just sell off utilities for pennies on the dollar to their friends. That's not privatization. That's piracy. But all that aside, this is the gist of it, the key. In their defeat, finding the way to defeat them is to look where they're most offensive. Because where is the rightful remedy? States' rights, 10th Amendment nullification, bringing the Congress and the federal government under control. But you're only going to do that when you realize it's fully captured. It doesn't listen to reason. It doesn't find the truth. It doesn't get religion. It doesn't come to Jesus because it's a fully held pillbox full of foreign soldiers, full of global technocrats. We're designed to fight a foreign enemy in a uniform. These are bought-off agents of globalists who are totally ruthless and whose tool of control is to make you poor while consolidating and stealing your wealth. So we, as a people, first have to realize that, and then we have to realize what are they worried about? States' rights, the family, the individual, races of people coming together around the Bill of Rights and Constitution as a human race for liberty. They're afraid of being independent. They're afraid of private wealth. They're afraid of freedom because they're flaming authoritarians. So once you realize that, you look at how they're set up saying states have no rights ever. Well, why do we have states? We know that's a fraud. How in 1913 they took the senators from the states who were elected by the legislature. Senators were pure creatures of the state, giving the states the veto power over government. That's the real system, separation of powers. And so we move for states' rights. We move for sovereignty of America and expose the fact that we're under globalism. We expose the fact the federal government's been captured and those serving them are collaborators. That's not rhetoric, folks. Like I'm saying, it's like they're foreign collaborators. They are. Get that through your head. Get that out to everyone, okay? And then we realize that's why they demonize states' rights. That's why they demonize gun owners. That's why they demonize, because they've got things planned so horrible. They know people are going to get out of their coma and finally physically resist. And the government and the foreign bankers know they have no other choice. They're all going to go to jail unless they bring in a total tyranny and arrest their opposition, those of us aware of their criminal takeover. So see, they're committed 100% to their cause. But if you really look at it, strategically, militarily, culturally, historically, it's so over the top to have a foreign occupier, and foreign occupiers always get run out if the people have the will to fight. So why don't we politically fight and culturally fight ahead of a physical fight? Because even though there's a good chance they'll lose that, that's what they want to go to, because they can see long term they're losing the hearts and minds of the people. So their entire defense structure is around stopping the rightful remedy in the Constitution, Bill of Rights, Declaration of Independence, of state sovereignty, individual sovereignty, Bill of Rights, Constitution, that's duplicated in the 50 states. In case the head gets taken over, there are 50 other systems that can join together or separately lead the way out of the takeover. It's designed like ships that have their own air tanks in them, so if they're flooding, they just pump up the air tanks, or boats that can't be sunk that have styrofoam in them. But the globalists are in there like termites trying to eat out the styrofoam to sink us. You understand that? Well, we just need to bail. When you resist the globalists, when you criticize the UN, when you fight for sovereignty, when you go and get involved politically, when you speak out, look at Obama trying to rally all his idiot minions to go after guns and saying, I need your horrible stories of what happened to you, to personalize it. One man's a tragedy, a million's a statistic, as Stalin said. Because it's a culture war. And he's trying to rally the useful idiots he's sucking dry and abusing and destroying, and all the poor he's creating, because he's their front man. We need to rally everybody. You need to realize how important you are in this fight. But here's the key. I always build up to it, because there's hundreds of little points I want to make, but the big central one is this: state sovereignty, a second American Revolution, because that's a catching term, and that's what it is, but not a Soviet cultural revolution, not a fascist cultural revolution, an American republic, born-again revolution of mind. That's where it all starts first. 90% of war is info war. And we take that revolution of mind, and we inject that revolution out there with the pride and the dignity and the focus that we have, knowing we're in the right, and not caring if we're criticized, not caring if people are brainwashed and laugh at us. They're victims. And we explain that the system is demonizing states' rights, gun owners, constitutionalists, and trying to typecast it as WWE star Jack Swagger in a staged arrest demonizing Alex Jones. They're doing all of that because they know that is the way out of all of this. And so they want to make Hispanics, blacks, northern whites, whoever, think, well, you're not part of America, even though it started in the North. You're not part of 1776, even though you live in Boston or New York. You don't know your history. You're not taught your history. Oh, no, it's those evil Southerners. They want to keep the guns because they're racist. The big, delicious punch bowl of the Republic that everybody would want to drink out of. And what's Chris Matthews and Al Sharpton doing? They are bent over, using the restroom, in the punch bowl, so that people won't go drink out of it. But that's not the real punch bowl. You understand that? And so we just simply have to point out they're desperately demonizing things because that's where they're weak. That's where they can be defeated, that they're occupiers, that they're liars, that they're frauds, that they have tiny audiences now. They're imploding. That's why they claim Obama was a mandate. Obama has won. Everyone wants socialism and to turn their guns in and to have open borders. And they have the Crossroads Group and hundreds of millions of Republican dollars, and Karl Rove leading it, demonizing even mainline conservatives like Glenn Beck and Rush Limbaugh. Because they saw all those Tea Party people get elected and all those Campaign for Liberty people get elected, a whole bunch. So Karl Rove comes out and says, you got no one elected. I got 2 people. And they announced it's a mandate with Obama. Obama. It's all a hoax because they've got a 9% approval rating. They're imploding. They're in trouble. They're falling apart. So they've got the WWE Republican run with the big Republican moguls of Jim McMahon and his wife. And you've got Fox News up there making jokes about it and acting like they're against it, but actually pushing it. And you've got shows on Fox TV demonizing constitutionalists. See, Rupert Murdoch. All of this trying, because the same globalists own the Republicans and the Democrats. And they're scared of a real revolution in the most likely candidate, the Republican Party, to get friends in Congress, to give moral support to constitutional conservatives and libertarians in the states, to get together with a real movement to take over the Republican Party and take America back. That's why they had to put Romney in, one of their establishment types, to kill it, to make sure it failed, so that they could claim the mandate. It was rigged at every level. The fix was in. And they're going for broke right now, not because they're strong, but because they're 7 to 10 years behind. Even Brzezinski says that, one of their top tacticians. And they know if they don't get it all done now, it's over. So that's why you're going to see Fox News try to pacify conservatives. Because, and they say on there, we don't want Alex Jones. We don't want Alex Jones to radicalize conservatives. And oh, Alex Jones doesn't speak for conservatives. You bet. I don't speak for New World Order fake Republicans. And see, Glenn Beck, who's a chameleon, he knows this. Back when Ron Paul had a chance to win 4 years ago in the primaries, he shot him down, said his supporters want to blow stuff up. The army needs to be used against him. I'm for the banker bailout. You know, Bilderberg group's not bad. Now he's like, I'm a libertarian, and I don't like the Republicans, and I'm leaving their party. And Karl Rove is taking it over and trying to kill the Tea Party, which is all true, except, okay, you've got New World Order Karl Rove, probably listening right now, lives in Austin. You've got him up here. Total New World Order, because they work for the foreign banks. They got to give you a fake choice of Obama or mainline Republicans. And then you've got Glenn Beck, you know, next, who's there, who just wants the market of the libertarian conservatives. And he's doing a lot more good than mainline Republicans, so I'm not bashing him. It's just that I don't trust him. I mean, these guys are all shifty-eyed beyond, but they're not real. They're all about how they're winners and they figured out the angles. Figuring out the angles isn't how you win, folks, in a desperate situation. You go past the angles. You redefine the game. That's how we're going to beat this. It's our only shot. And it's a big shot. We got a really good chance of beating this thing. If you realize, folks, you're not signing on to some global corporate takeover. You're signing on to something that makes Hitler look like a uncoordinated schoolboy. I mean, you're talking Incredible Hulk versus a electroshock therapy Hitler, okay? A lobotomized Hitler. I mean, this is a mean machine, but it only can convert and take over if you're not aware, if you're not involved, and if you don't realize how over-the-top cuckoo this eugenics takeover is. Okay, so we've got all that happening. So I'm calling again for the second American Revolution. And you notice the media tried to spin it. He wants to take up arms. No, the opposite. I want to take up info weapons. The pen is mightier than the sword. The keyboard, the bullhorn, the banner hang, the bumper sticker. Now. And realize the unbelievable holy mission you're on. I mean, you are literally in the footsteps. Our forebears fought the greatest empire the world had ever seen. Never been beaten. But I'll be honest with you. The British redcoats were not that evil compared to what we face. They were powerful. But the reason our forebears committed to fighting something and never been beaten, because it was horrible to be a slave, it was horrible to be humiliated, and they saw things getting worse, and they saw their lands being taken, and their kids being pressed as slaves, white slaves. They just called it impressment. Didn't call it slavery. For 10-year stints on ships where the average person only lived about 5 years. He had a very low chance of living. They would go around town and grab men, women, and children, mainly, well, not really women, that was later, but the point is they would grab women for other service, but they would grab boys and men, but boys mainly because they could be made to serve. For the hellish slave trade, you name it, that was going on the east coast of Africa. The point is, I don't want to digress into history here, we don't have a choice. And hell, you can go get Jack Daniels and Prozac and go watch the football game and say, I don't care, devil take it. That's your business. But this is the animating contest for liberty. This is the real deal. And the entire globalist program is focused on demonizing the Tea Party, veterans, gun owners, constitutionalists in the fetters. And why? Because we carry with us what made America great. We are the Americans. We are the informed. We are the people that are left. We're the real elite. We're the real remnant, whether you're black, white, Hispanic, Asian, German, Chinese, Jewish, Tasmanian. The point is, you're it. And if you're listening anywhere in the world, you're facing the same global corporate design program. Unified agenda, same textbook, same names, same deal. And you're it. We are humanity's best and only hope. And God is behind us. But listen, you got to take the first steps and say, God, I'm going to fight the corruption. I'm going to do the best. Show me what to do. Say that prayer. Even if I don't, whether you're a Christian, a Jewish, Muslim, an atheist, if you don't even believe in God and spiritualism or whatever you want to call it, asking the ether, asking the source, I want to be good. I want to fight corruption. I don't know what to do. Open up the doors for me. Show me what to do. The universe, the doors will just open. The universe, as Martin Luther King said, justice is there in the universe, and the universe bends towards justice. The providence. You've got to ask for the providence. You've got to decide you want to be good. You've got to decide you want the truth. You've got to decide you want liberty. You've got to decide you don't want to be ruled by bad people. Because here's the thing about evil. Once you get bad guys in place, but who aren't completely, sadistic and murderous, they'll be replaced by those that are worse, and then those that are worse, and those that are worse. That's why you always get such crazy, wild men, royalty bathing in children's blood, or burning down whole cities, or declaring themselves God, or demanding human sacrifices. Because megalomaniac psychopaths will always end up taking over a big government. We're in deep trouble. We need 1776 worldwide now. Alex Jones here with a message that could revolutionize health in this country. Going back about a year and a half ago, I began to learn about the incredible health effects of longevity products. Aaron Dykes lost 92 pounds. We're going to show you some before and afters. Aaron, break down what happened, your story.
I've worked really hard with diet and exercise to try to lose weight, but I just didn't get the results. It just didn't happen. Then I saw what you were doing with InfoWarsTeam.com. I wasn't even trying to lose weight, but I got it because I wanted to feel better energy. I wanted that nutrition. Didn't even understand how that could kickstart my own weight loss goals. But the products did that for me. I found myself suddenly losing weight, more energetic, wanting to exercise, wanting to eat the right foods.
And they don't even advertise it as weight loss. I want to challenge our radio listeners to go to InfoWarsTeam.com. Sign up as a distributor and get wholesale pricing discounts at InfoWarsTeam.com. Fish fraud is off the scale at restaurants nationwide, and you're paying top dollar for snapper or flounder or whatever the case could be, swordfish, and you're really getting tilapia that they've reformed, and they've got all these ways to make it fake, kind of like the red slime, the pink slime. But you know what? I know what all these big industries can do, the fish industry, the restaurant industry, Nestle and others caught with the horse meat. Just say it's a conspiracy theory. Hell, you could serve them... well, the Japanese are actually coming out with this reconstituted feces. You guys pull up poop as meat. It's a Japanese TV, but you can show the viewers, radio listeners. I mean, hell, you could have... I'm not kidding. With the average American, you could put like a centipede on their plate and tell them it's beef. And if they say, that looks like a centipede, go, conspiracy theory, and then go, oh, okay, let me eat that, large red-headed Texas centipede. I say that because I caught one this morning. The kids got a kick out of it. The point is that, yeah, there it is. Fade it up. Fade up the poop meat. People think I'm joking. Can we fade up the poop meat, please? I mean, you think I'm joking here, but you know what? It's not poop. It's a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy theory. And of course, Natural News has pointed out, how about bromine in not just Gatorade, but scores of other soft drinks that will give you cancer and infertility and also make you have mental illness? How's that sound? Yeah, in Japan, they have the new meat product. As they say, it's quite delicious. Poop, human poop. Here it is. You're a TV viewer, I'm not kidding. Sewage mud contains a great deal of protein. We research whether we can extract the protein and recycle it. The process creates delicious beef.
Sewage mud is rich in protein because it is alive with bacteria. These bacteria are harmless because they are killed by heat during the manufacturing process.
Look at that poop meat.
The red color is obtained by using food coloring. The artificial steak, according to initial tests, even tastes like beef. In fact, to refine the flavor,
that's enough.
Professor Ikeda...
he enjoys eating it himself. You think I'm joking about this stuff? Folks, they spray live viruses, poop viruses, on most meat you eat. They won't believe that. Type in viruses sprayed on meat. It's 6 years old, ABC News. They radiated everything. They sprayed poop viruses on it. Hope you enjoy it. It's good for you. Think I'm joking about poop viruses? Whatever. In Latin, it translates to poop-eating viruses, or viruses that eat poop-eating bacteria, I guess is the full quote. I'll tell you, having knowledge is the beginning of sorrow. I think it says somewhere in the Bible. The bottom line is they're afraid of states' rights movements. They're telling you have no power. They're telling you the Tea Party's dead, the Republican and Democratic parties, because it's the stake that can go through the vampire's heart. It's the high noon to Count Chocula, okay? It is the holy water. To that Renfield-like creature known as Janet Napolitano that walks around dragging her knuckles on the ground like some type of albino possum re-engineered with a chimpanzee.
Do you understand how dark it is? How far down the line we are? How late it is?
I have decided to become a trendy for at least the next 5 minutes. I want to say there is no horse meat being fed to anyone that they claim is beef. That is a conspiracy. There are no drones operating domestically, and the NSA is not listening to us. There is no world government, even though it's all been announced. And everything's fine. And USA Today is lying. No restaurants serve you a lower quality fish and mislabel it. There is no lying. No one should question anything. Everything's fine. The government loves you. There. Let's go to your phone calls. A bunch of your calls, and I'm going to get into the main news. I've covered some of it, but the economy and a lot more coming up right now. Let's talk to Jeremy in Texas. Jeremy, thank you for patiently holding. You're on the air, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for taking my call. I was calling in because you'd asked for what we think some solutions can be. And I think...
Hold on a minute. We got to have the record skipping. You actually called in on what I asked you to call in about? This may be a first. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, my story is a few years ago. I'm going in my third year now as a Prison Planet TV member. 3 years ago, I was what you would call an evangelical Christian at Hagee's Church here in San Antonio. Was a leader in the church, taught Bible study, taught marriage intimacy, and was a big believer in the pre-trib rapture until I had been listening to you a little bit, didn't really, I wouldn't say I didn't believe you, but I just found it interesting until you had brought up about how, we were going to live through the tribulation, and then the rapture was going to happen after that the Rockefeller Foundation had started introducing that in the 1800s. Well, I'm one of the people that still actually research stuff. And when I researched it, I went back and I found out that what you said was absolutely true. There's nothing in history except for, I think, some Roman priest that mentioned it 1,000 years ago just as a paper. But before then...
Well, yeah, I mean, the Gnostics thought that a little bit, but it wasn't the same thing, yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't until then that I really believed you. And, I mean, you are 100% responsible for bringing me out of the matrix. I am an evangelical. I am a Christian. And then, of course, now with Pastor Anderson's movie that came out, which I think is absolutely amazing. But being in the church that I was in here, I don't go there anymore. I mean, I was a lemming. I was a neocon. I was exactly...
What happened when you started telling people, hey, the beast will wage war against the saints and overcome them? I mean, what did they say to you? I mean, did you try to wake them up?
Oh, absolutely. I've been doing that for 3 years. I had, 50 or 60 friends that went to that church on Facebook that are no longer my friends. They defriended me. But
again, so afraid that you don't agree with them because, there's nothing bad going to happen to us. We're going to did any of the Christians ever get teleported out? Well, sometimes they did, like the lion's den or the fiery furnace, but they had to go into it first.
Yeah, absolutely. And Noah didn't get taken off of earth. He stayed. So, I mean, the history of the Bible shows that every time they went through tribulation, God never took them out of it. They had to stay through it. But
did they get raptured out with the lions? Or a lot of Christians thought they were going to be raptured in Nazi Germany. Did that happen?
No, absolutely not. And but what I was saying about them is they are. I was in that church for 7 or 8 years, and they brought in historians and people that talked about the founding fathers in a good way. They're gunners, they're hunters, they're fishers. I mean, they're everything that you talk about of that fight. But the one key thing that holds them up from opening their mind is thinking that they don't have to fight. Because in that church, they don't teach Romans 13. In other words, I could tell
no. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy that it's all going to end anyways. And for the New Agers, they gave them 2012. Oh, well, why be involved? 2012 is the end of the world. You see how Frank Herbert called it the Missionariat Protectorate, where they would implant groups to create false ideas of giving up and there's no point, so that when then they sent in their control people, everybody would stand down. Great points. I know that's why we have the film, After the Tribulation, Let No Man Deceive You, available at InfoWarsStore.com. Your purchase supports us and the filmmakers. Very well done film. And believe me, this is like cyanide to the lies of the pre-trib stuff. And I'm not judging you if you're into pre-trib. If you think that's true, go ahead and believe it. ProPure is introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. This is the Pro One by ProPure. You wanted it, you got it. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It cuts out the acid derivative of fluoride. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gates, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. This is a revolution against the tyrants. They love putting the toxic acid base of fluoride into your water. They love the fact that it's an adjuvant supercharging the trace Prozac in the water and the hormones and the other chemicals. By cutting out fluoride, you cut out the turbocharger in all the poison being artificially introduced into your body. This is what I use. It's a win-win. You get a high-quality product at the lowest price. You support the InfoWar. Get your ProPure with the new Pro One filters today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139. Citizens applaud defeat of firearms ban in Massachusetts. The problem is they've got our kids. I've actually had at Handgun Control Inc. an article I was in like 10 years ago go, it doesn't matter if you beat this bill now. We have control of the education system and your children. I probably read that quote like 25 times on air. It was in the Austin American Statesman. Doesn't matter long term. It's all about dominating, all about, see, for the government type, that's how they move up. They move up by making you their slave. TSA apologizes for harassing another wheelchair-bound toddler. Yeah, they'll say, get up. I'm sorry, my son's a quadriplegic. Shut up, terrorist. Get back. Stocks plunge as Fed members admit endless bond buying will not fix economy. Sheriff responds to attacks over Second Revolution comments. We're going to be getting to that. It's powerful. Gun control was historically about repressing blacks. 20 signs the U.S. economy is headed towards big trouble in the months ahead. Really, you think so? Killing the dollar. G20 and IMF push for global Fed, global currency, global government. Oh, as the solution. We did all this on purpose. Give us more power. That'll fix it. And then huge online film festival launched video at Infowars.com. And that's just some of the news on Infowars.com. We'll look at DrudgeReport.com. We'll look at a bunch of other news. But I promise, let's go to your calls. I promise to go to calls. 800-25-99231. We'll go to John, then Charles, then Sean, and then Chad, and then Casey, and then to the news. Let's go to John in New Jersey. You're on the air, sir. Thank you for holding.
Hey, Alex.
Go ahead.
I just had some points to go through. I know you get very frustrated sometimes, and quite frankly, so do I, because when I see people who are that asleep where you can say something that's out in the open, like the NDAA, for example, and they'll just come back at you trying to sound so smart and like they're so educated and just spin something. Like
it's good to spray viruses on cutlets of meat. It's good to radiate it. It's good the Japanese are now eating human poop turned into steaks. It's good they're putting cancer viruses in the vaccines. I have articles where they're giving little kids flu shots and they're dying, and then the government goes, we don't know why they're dying. We're not going to indict the parents. And then it comes out they were injected a day before with a flu shot. I mean, it's real simple. You take the flu shot, sometimes you die. The stinking insert, the CDC's own site says it may kill you. But people are like, oh, there's no way they're killing us. That's my point. It's all. People say, how did the Germans put up with what they put up with? By successive approximation, by incrementalism. Sorry, go ahead.
No, yes, because basically our problem as a country is we're too used to having everything done for us, where people are at the point where they won't go out and actually read the insert of the flu shot. They'll just take it because the establishment says to take it. And people don't think that they need guns. Well, I've never needed it before. Well, trust me, when this whole thing starts, you're going to be pretty sorry if you don't have one. And basically everyone is too used to the fact that we haven't had a large-scale national crisis in quite a while, to the point that everyone's just so lethargic now, which my response to that would be, shouldn't we in the whole liberty movement be promoting things more along the lines of...
No, that's it. But if we can get the yuppies who are riding bikes every day and into all that to show some energy about the Bill of Rights and Constitution that produced all the wealth. I mean, even if you're a cynical person that doesn't care about anybody, not having liberty makes it a very bad place to live with no due process, and where, you know, horse meat's the tip of the iceberg. It's bad drugs, it's bad food, it's bad water, it's bad air by design. It's a lying government that's already taken the pension funds. The money's already gone. They're just getting martial law ready for when the shoe drops. You know, that's another thing. People are like, oh, so what if the government has 2 billion rounds and training for gun confiscation? I don't own guns. You idiots. What do you think? That's a civil war they're gearing up for. That means an end to all of this. And they've taken down Argentina. They've taken down Brazil. They've taken down Nigeria. They've taken down Greece. They've taken down Spain, Portugal. Once prosperous areas have protests with 5 million people and burning buildings every week and people starving to death and cops killing people, and it's not even news anymore. I want everybody to get it straight here. The globalists are running revolutions worldwide. They're putting Al-Qaeda in. They will tear this country from one end to the other and sit offshore while it happens. They've taught so many yuppies. They go, I don't care. Kill the Iraqis. They're not human. Do you think the globalists who don't think Iraqis are human think you're human either? They respect them a lot more than your big lazy butt. They think of you as a dumb animal who they don't want to take care of anymore. You're like, but I work. They don't care. They see the resources as theirs. They don't think you're human. They don't think you deserve to live. And here's my beef with the globalist. Maybe some of the public who wants to be slaves and hear this, maybe they do deserve to be slaves. I don't, okay? I'm not going to be a slave. And the globalists say, well, you better join us. I'm not joining a bunch of people that are into child sex slavery and stuff. You people are evil. I'm not joining the big crowd of lazy, self-propelled stomachs, and I'm not joining the New World Order either. I want my republic back. And that happens by cutting all these people off welfare and making everybody tough and cutting the corporate welfare off and arresting these globalists and hanging their asses high. I appreciate your call. excuse me, and I mean after due process, jury trials, everything, espionage. We need to make an example. I'd be more than happy after the globalists are kicked out to give them amnesty and let them leave. But what country would take the New World Order minions? All right, let's go ahead and talk to Charles in Florida. Charles, thanks for holding her on the air.
Hey, what's up, my brother? How you doing?
Good.
I just want to talk to you about the WWE and PlayStation 4. I'm a big martial arts fan. I've been watching the WWE since I was 2 years old. And just knowing it now, noticing it now, what they've done with Jack Swagger, they've been laying the groundwork for about 15 years to demonize patriots and anyone who identifies themselves as an American national. It started with Kurt Angle because he started back in 1999. He's really just the basic same gimmick as Jack Swagger, you know, all-American, you know, American hero, American wrestler, and he's been a heel. When he first started, he was a heel. That's a bad guy, and he turned to a babyface because the crowd were so into him because he was so talented. But Jack Swagger started about 5-6 years ago, and he's always been a heel. He's never been a good guy ever. So I mean, with his new gimmick coming back. He came back about 3 weeks ago. He was supposed to be a good guy, but they changed their mind because all of a sudden they decided to turn Alberto Del Rio, who was a bad guy since he started. All overnight, he was a good guy. He was a babyface. So, I mean, they just... Well,
no, I mean, there's nothing worse than a white person. And so, obviously, you know, he's the new bad guy who wants sovereignty, and then he's going to be defeated by the loving Mexican. And this is meant... Because a lot of people that watch wrestling watch it for the entertainment. It is very funny, interesting. But others, you know, there are people there who think it's real. And this creates that background. And then they go, all the problems in America are the Mexicans. And that's obviously not true. So then it discredits that if we want any sovereignty and don't want a North American Union and to be totally imploded, when Mexico's imploding, then you hate all Mexicans. When if Mexicans that are Americans had any sense, which a lot of them do, they'd say, wait a minute, Mexico's imploding. It doesn't help Mexicans to bring them here and lower all our wages. We need to get Mexico back as a free country. And so it's purely meant to create division. And people say, Alex, it's just entertainment. They admit the Department of Defense and the globalists fund these anti-patriot, anti-veteran. I want to say that again. The Department of Justice and Defense fund anti-patriot military messages because they hate the veterans, because they're not under their control anymore. I mean, this is treasonous. This is ridiculous. Obviously, the bad guys demonize the veterans. The bad guys demonize George Washington. The bad guys demonize the family. The bad guys push abortion. The bad guys push socialism. And look what the media pushes, including Fox News Corp properties, who claim they're so conservative. If Rupert Murdoch was a real conservative, he brags. We have the promo video where they're he's the chairman, I guess the president of News Corp. We played it many years ago. Call Paul Watson. It's so old, he'll know how to find it. It's something like News Corp promotes carbon taxes. And they brag, here are all of our current lineup of shows promoting the, carbon taxes and carbon footprint and bringing in the new green economy. And then they show all the shows they're doing it. See, they have to control the conservative movement. They have to be loyal opposition. Do you understand that?
Right. You're correct. The thing is, if the WWE, I would say since the Iraq War, they have been the ground floor for anything that's propaganda. If it's propaganda, they're going to do it, especially like in the last 4 years when Linda started her campaign. They would just straight up, the commercials, they would be 2 hours straight, just entertainment. But 4 years ago, they just started they go to commercial in the match. Here's propaganda. The WWE is with the troops. So we'll stop the whole show. We want to thank the troops for everything they're doing.
No, it's part of living in a North Korean society. It doesn't mean thank the troops. They thank the police state. They thank the global empire. They thank the New World Order to get you ready for troops on the streets. Kentucky Derby, NFL, troops as the security, armed troops. They're getting us ready. I really appreciate your call, sir. And again, whoever that guy is with Jack Swagger, his manager, the other actor, has a red Yosemite Sam. Zeb Coulter has a red Yosemite Sam mustache, and he's short like Yosemite Sam, and he goes, "I hate rabbits. I hate Mexicans." I mean, they directly, I know in the behind-the-scenes meetings are like, you will now start looking like Yosemite Sam, or you look like Yosemite Sam, you'll go out and do this. And it's the full, you've got Karl Rove saying, open the borders, world government, socialism is good, the Tea Party is evil, and it's weak, and it's dead, and it's over. And you've got the same thing coming out of the WWE. That's because the Tea Party is the only hope. What the ideas of the real Tea Party, the real libertarian constitutional rediscovery of America. Let's talk to Sean from New York. New York City. Go ahead, sir.
How you doing, Mr. Jones? I wanted to talk to you about some things that's fundamental. When I try to explain to people about the elite globalist agenda, most of the time they're going to associate it with Illuminati. And the thing is that they want to know, like, who are these people? But actually, I read some investigations, and I read that once you sift through that bureaucracy and those subsidiaries and the parent companies and the mega corporations and the conglomerates and the monopolies, that there's owners, and maybe there's a handful of people, maybe less than 200 people that actually own everything.
No, you're right. There are less than 200, and they're busy trying to make us totally poor, not to control us, but so they can get us in a position to then kill us. I mean, and they write all these publications saying they're going to do it. I mean, guys, type in Rockefeller and others, rich meet in secret to discuss overpopulation. And it was all over the news. Well, yeah, they're setting up a global government to reduce population. And then the average yuppie goes, there are too many people. Yeah, dummy, and they're putting poison in your water, you moron. Stop imagining you're part of the controllers killing people. You know, reflected glory. I'm part of it. I agree with the plan. Then kill yourself. I don't want to die. And I'm not signed on to this plan. Not in my name. I don't want to go to hell. And even if you don't believe in hell, my gut doesn't like hurting innocent people. So I'm not signed on to it. I hate certain innocent people. All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, so it seems as if they control everything, and their family lineage is on top of that hierarchy, and it just continues. But I know that you talk a lot about the left and the right, and it's just so happened that I had heard about Obama when he won the candidacy to be a Democrat versus Hillary Clinton, or Bilderberg was in town at that time. And I remember that they were all in the press plane, and he may have secretly met with Bilderberg with Hillary Clinton when he was elected.
No, I know. I was there. Imagine. It's one of the biggest stories in America. Where is Hillary? Where's Obama? They've disappeared for a day. I'm there, Secret Service, Marines guarding him, Chantilly, Virginia. I call Fox, CNN, local channels. No one covered it. No one covered it but the Epoch Times. And then I think Drudge linked to that there was a Bilderberg meeting. But Epoch Times was like, well, we don't know they're in there. I'm like, no, we have sources. No, the Secret Service drove by and aimed MP5 machine guns at us. Hillary and Obama are there. Imagine, you know where they are. The media knew too, but they didn't want to show the Bilderberg meeting. So the media showed what good little minions they were. That's why they may have Bilderberg. It's always 3 years in Europe, 1 year in the U.S. or Canada, North America. Now they may have it the same place this year because other media, they don't even have control in Europe. And people, were there with literal torches in Switzerland. So again, America is so controlled that the only media that covered it this last year in Virginia was Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com, DrudgeReport.com, and Foreign News, London Guardian. But again, that's why the mainstream media has hardly any readers now. It doesn't matter if they lie and won't say it's happening. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so it did appear that he vanished at that time. But I try to stress to people, it doesn't matter if it's Obama or if it's Romney, is controlled under the same thing. These financiers and the finances and the bankers, and they're controlling the politics and the military. And that's what I got to say about it.
I hear you, my friend. Good to hear from you. Let's jam in another. Chad in California, you're on the air.
Hi, thank you for having me on. You're doing a wonderful thing, Mr. Jones. Hopefully we can follow you a lot more and do the rest. If you don't mind me giving just a little bit of two quotes from the Bible, and then I will give you a thing, I would love it. Do I have your permission?
Sure, we're going to break in a minute, but just start your point now. Go ahead.
Okay, then for thee ought to say, if the Lord will, we shall live and do this or that. But now ye rejoice in the boastings. All such rejoicing is evil. Therefore, to him that knoweth to do good and does not do it, to him it is sin. And now for my actual point. My wife is an illegal alien. I'm a U.S. citizen.
Hold on, stay there. I'm going to come back to you on the other side of this quick break. Okay, let me go back to this caller. Then I need to get into some more of the news and then back into your calls. But we did find the, I guess, 3-minute video from 2006 with News Corp putting out an internal promo video to themselves about good job, writers and workers. We're propagandizing people effectively. I mean, that's the thing with the public. I'm like, hey, the Department of Defense and the Department of Justice is paying to have anti-gun messages in TV shows. Yeah, right. Next you're going to tell me there's horse meat in these TV dinners. Next you're going to tell me that aspartame's bad. And next you're going to say we might want to watch the government. Everybody knows you do whatever the government says. That's common sense. America was founded on socialism and the end of the family. Hi, I listen to NPR. Hi, I'm Janet Napolitano, head of Homeland Security. Trust no one but the government. So that's coming up. If I could shut up long enough. Let's go ahead and go back to, who was I just talking to? Chad? Chad, go ahead, sir. You were saying your wife is an illegal. Go ahead.
Yeah, basically wanted to find out is my research into the Constitution and understanding it, really our government only has the right to say if you're a citizen or not on the borders. And I do think that it is a thing that needs to be addressed, and I'm not against...
Well, here's the issue. That because of sham marriages, they make it super hard. And if you're European, they make it almost impossible to immigrate here because they've got deals with Europe to keep good tax slaves there. They only bring in poor, uneducated workers, whether they be white, Hispanic, black, Asian, from around the world, to drive down wages. That's the main immigrant force. The corporations are clear on that. And to be a political arm. So, I mean, if you're an illegal alien from Mexico and flaunt things that are in the right group, you're above the law. But if you've got a woman you're really married to, you know, what is it, like 5 years it takes or whatever, you know, of you guys together, last time I checked, to really prove... well, I mean, I'm sure you're an expert on it. I mean, you're married. It's really your wife. How long have you been married?
We've been married for 7 years, and definitely a big witness to the sham of our immigration system, because one of the reasons why we're having problems is the fact that we actually told the truth. And because of that, now we're this oddity case that we can't have anything go forward.
No, of course. No. It's all done on purpose. The entire system is meant... If you walked in like Acorn, or they've done it in Social Security office and said, I'm running child slaves, I'm shipping them in crates bound, I want to give you part of that money, and they're like, hey, we'll tell you how to run the black op right now. Yeah, we bring in, yeah, it's a fantastic job. Yeah, just make sure you got them in the school. These little kids you're pimping out, how old are they? Oh, they're 10 years old. Good. Yeah, we'll help you with that. As long as you're hardcore criminal gangster, you're going to Valhalla, son. I mean, this whole system's run by criminals for criminals. That's what I'm telling you. This isn't just rhetoric. The government's now converted to tyranny. They've got lots of Dudley Do-Rights that, you know, write you tickets and, you know, take your kid or whatever, who really think they're doing good for America. Well, I hate lawbreakers. But meanwhile, the real lawbreakers are running things. And I'm sorry to hear that's happened to you. So what's your final question?
Well, actually, it's a final statement of things to do. Really, people go out and befriend everyone, and even especially the law enforcement, and that to show them that you are human, you are a person. There is a reason for you. No,
you have to treat the globalist minions like they're a criminal. And like when they've kidnapped a kid, you go, we love little Jenny. Here's her dog Spot. Her grandmother is crying. She's a human being. Please, if you haven't killed her yet, please let her go. Just let her go. Now, that works with some criminals who are kind of mentally ill and twisted. The psychopaths enjoy it more. But yeah, so begging them, the wrong ones, they'll get all demonic looking and have a demon feed off of that, a psychic vampire feed. But some of them you can actually get to. But I've noticed a lot of them acting, you know, saying I'm human. They go, I know and I'm not. Because, you know, their spirit's going straight to hell. They're already in hell. They already love it.
Not to fight, but to show that your character is of godly nature, that you love. But it does not mean that we do not fight this.
Although the best thing to do is fight the New World Order. Fight them, laugh at them, spit at them. They're degenerate filth and scum and ugly and weak. They'll be overrun in the end and they will fail. That's what you need to do. That's what because they already know it. They already know their place has been prepared. All right, I appreciate your call, Chad. All right, let's take one more while I settle down. One more while I settle down. Let's talk to Casey in Georgia. Casey, you're on the air.
Hey, Alex.
Hey, buddy.
Let me get off speaker 1 sec.
All right. How you doing, partner?
Yeah, I got a YouTube video up of what happened to me last night. I'm going to say the title real quick. It's Georgia Car Lemon Fire. Well,
Georgia Fire what?
Oh, Georgia Car Lemon Fire.
Georgia Car Lemon Fire.
Georgia.
Georgia Fire Lemon Fire.
Oh, that's Georgia Car Lemon Fire. Sorry about that.
That's almost like a brainwashing term. Georgia Fire Lemon. I'm sorry. All right. Well, you guys go find that. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
All right. Well, anyway, this car caught fire right next to my convenience store last night, and I was at my house, and I rushed out with my fire extinguisher, and I put it out. When I go to spray it back a second time, the officer says, somebody grab that man. Do you want to be arrested?
Oh, yeah, you don't have slaves. Pretty soon you'll be arrested for trying to wipe your own hind end, and I'm not kidding. I mean, they would have toilet safety police if they could, directly out of South Park. And that's the message of government. You're a low-down scum. You're not allowed to protect yourself while your wife's being raped with your fist in England. If you fight the guy off, they will throw you in prison for a decade. And that's their message. Because they're criminals, at least the people you're dealing with. They have a criminal mindset. The nanny state doesn't let kids run at school now. Do you understand that? So tell us what happened.
Well, after that, I stepped back and I started filming, and about 14 minutes into the video, he comes back up and he says that he's sorry. Well, he doesn't. He kind of says he's sorry in an way, and he says, "Well, I told him I was well within my rights to put out that fire. It's going to burn down my family's store, our livelihood, our income." But more than that, I've been having trouble with the city here because my...
How dare you try to run a business to pay them money, you filth. You filth.
Yeah.
You filth.
Yeah, they do get quite a bit of our money.
They're going to get more, too, boy. Obama going to do more. Anyway, so, yes, we now see the video. I can shot sideways. I like that camera angle. That's cinematic. Tell us what else happened.
Well, not too much happened. Like I said, he comes up and there's a good little quote there you might be able to make a meme out of somebody. But he comes up and he kind of apologizes, and at the end of it all, we're all right. He's a local guy. But he was imperious, and, you know, he wasn't in the right to tell me that he'd arrest me for putting out a fire on my own property. And I told him as such.
Well, it's hard to believe that the progeny of people that carved out a continent might be able to put out a fire. Man, you're sick. What's wrong with you? Only someone in a uniform. Pretty soon you'll have to wear a uniform to be able to swim. I mean, literally, to be able to walk. Only people that have uniforms be able to walk. Maybe they'll chop our legs off at birth and say, only if your legs are chopped off, you know, or if you have a uniform, you're allowed to have legs. How's that sound?
No, well, I don't want, I'm never going to wear a uniform, so. Anyway.
Sir, do you have a license? Have you been properly trained to brush your teeth?
No, I'm afraid not. I don't know, kindergarten, they taught us that. That's the last time I remember.
So government did teach you how to do that.
Oh, I guess you.
What about picking your nose? They teach you that as well?
No, that might have come from instinct, come from God.
Man, this is evil, what I'm hearing right now. Whoa, you mean from the state? You just said God.
No, not.
Did you just engage in sacrilege and blasphemy? Did you just say the state wasn't God?
No, not this guy. I know who I serve. I serve Jesus.
Well, there. That's why you're evil.
Well, anyway, the planning and zoning guy, just last year, when my sister tried to fix up this house behind it, he said our property was condemned. He just said it was condemned and hoped we wouldn't fight it. But I fought it, and I found out that they do this sort of informal condemnation where they just refuse to issue building permits.
No, they're God. You didn't. They take people's kids for not taking vaccines. There's no law. They forcibly inject kids with no law. Kid dies, they arrest you even though they know they killed your kid because they're God. L.A. sends me letters going, we want $1,200 because somebody hung up an InfoWars sign. And I'm like, well, what if it's an Obama sign? You going to charge him? I go, you don't have any citation, any proof that I did that, any fact. And they just go, okay, the fine's going to double. Well, good. And they're like, go ahead and sue us. We'll just use taxpayer money to pay it off. They don't care. They want to take everything down. It's all about they're in charge.
Now, the planning and zoning officer, he come from the Department of Community Affairs in Atlanta. And the Department of Community Affairs, when I was doing my research yesterday, they are the ones who give out the grants for the dam from the feds. They also are the ones who give out the grants for the fluoride. So I'm tempted to file open records request on them.
Sir, the health departments were set up in the 1890s in England, and by 1900 here, Rockefeller Foundation, Carnegie Endowment, all of it, and it was set up for, quote, racial hygiene. And at the Nuremberg trials, about half the defense was quoting out of the Margaret Sanger Planned Parenthood, Eugenics Society, Kaiser Wilhelm Institute, Rockefeller Brothers Foundation. Because the Nazis just did what they were taught to do. They just said Germans are only good, or Aryans, everybody else is dead. The globalists say everybody's dead. It's their job to make sure you get cancer and die. I know that sounds incredibly radical. It is. Reality's crazy. Appreciate your call. Let's get to some news. Look at this article. I'm going to cover this first because this ties into how we awaken and how we take America back. Sheriff responds to attacks. We have a document cam right on this bad boy right here. For TV viewers, right here is the document cam. Thank you. Sheriff responds to attacks over Second Amendment comments. The American people will decide when to push back, not me. And here is the Milwaukee Journal. Sheriff David Clarke defends appearance on conspiracy-laden show. So now if we talk about our right, talk about the Bill of Rights, talk about the Constitution, neurotically document everything, this is a pejorative. This would be like 100 years ago saying, don't listen to that guy saying he's got rights and we cheated him. He's an N-word. Or it'd be like in India, you know, with the untouchables. Don't listen to what that guy said. I didn't steal anything from him. He's an untouchable. He's a conspiracy theorist. He's somebody that isn't a chump. He's somebody that doesn't believe known liars. He's somebody that's informed. He's somebody that gets things done. He's somebody that built his own media empire. Oh, no. It's just, no. He's somebody that's broken thousands of big stories. No, he's just that nobody. And the Tea Party's dead, and the Drudge Report's dead. I've been seeing that headline for 10 years. The Drudge Report's dead as its traffic goes up and up and up, as it gets more and more influential, the most influential. They have articles every week. Drudge Report's dead. Drudge Report's dead. Drudge Report's dead. Oh, Mark Twain's dead. Well, he is now, but back then, Mark Twain's dead. Mark Twain's dead. Rumors of my death have been greatly exaggerated. Alex Jones is dead. Alex Jones is discredited. Alex Jones, it's all over while we go straight up. They celebrate themselves. They're a bunch of con artists. So anyways, Sheriff David Clarke defends appearance on conspiracy-laden show. Oh, see, and I love how the sheriff says, oh, I didn't know I had to talk to you to be allowed to have an opinion or a view. Let me read from the Infowars.com story that's got the quotes in it. You can go read the full article. Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clarke Jr. has defended his comments on the Alex Jones show earlier this week under criticism from local reporters who said his remarks that strict gun legislation could lead to a second American Revolution were inflammatory. Trying to take our guns is inflammatory. Trying to blame us for dead kids is inflammatory. It's like somebody ran somebody over with a tractor. You're going to take all the John Deere tractors away? No, the tractor didn't do it. Clarke told Jones listeners that he would consider any federal order to confiscate guns as an act of tyranny. He also said, I don't want to get shot. He's not stupid. And said that he would refuse to enforce it in the county. You don't like this, do you, that we're now having this discussion, do you? See, we win. We force the initiative. We go on the offense and make you respond to us. You don't control reality anymore, you viper. Let's continue. I believe that if somebody tried to enforce something of that magnitude, you would see the second coming of an American revolution, the likes of which would make the first revolution pale with comparison, the sheriff urged. That comment did not sit well with hacks at the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, who accused Clarke of engaging in attention-grabbing media appearances on a conspiracy peddling radio show. In a piece which will not link to, clearly designed to draw some much-needed readership from InfoWars audience. Oh, be nice. Call Steve up and have him link to that. I think it's comical to see him burning in flames politically. In a piece clearly designed to draw some much-needed readership from InfoWars audience, one reporter makes several baiting remarks about Alex Jones while extensively quoting from our article on Sheriff Clarke's comments earlier this week. See, it's the mainstream media that never links. We will link. I know why Steve did that, but it's a way to point that out. I get it's a literary flourish, but let's link to them. We don't know how long their publication will be around anyways. When the Sentinel reporter questioned Clarke's appearance and his comments, the sheriff responded in an email stating, "I don't know, I needed your approval." I love that. Because they're like, "Why are you on the show?" Well, I didn't know I needed your approval. When did people stop being entitled to their opinion? Asked the sheriff. On the topic of the Second Revolution, comments Clarke told the newspaper, "I'm sure in 1776, the idea seemed way out there, too, at the time." And what a smart guy, man. I really like these sheriffs. These patriot sheriffs are like all need talk shows. The sheriff wrote, "The American people will decide when to push back, not me." That's right. That's right. You've been pushing on us long enough, New World Order. And we're sick of being pushed around. I don't care how many sitcoms, how many dramas, how many shows you've got demonizing red-blooded good people, or how many times you say we killed the kids at Sandy Hook, or how many times CNN says I supported Chris Dorner when everybody knows I didn't, or how many times you say the U.S. attacked Russia that I said that. I didn't say that. You are discredited. Call me a conspiracy theorist because I know all your tricks. Call me that. Call me that. Call me that. Keep calling me that all day. I love it. That's the only trick you got. You people are a joke. I was interviewed by CNN poster Piers Morgan. Now, there's a guy with some whacked out views, Clarke also wrote in the email. I've done dozens of interviews over the simple 30-second radio ad, Clarke told the Journal-Sentinel. And, folks, if the crime rate is going up in Milwaukee because of police being laid off and because they got gun control going on there, and he wants to keep the county safe, what do you say? You say, folks, time to get firearms training, protect yourself. I mean, that is no-brainer. That should not be radical. That is common sense. But they want to tell us we're radical. I mean, we've had people march up to us on the streets of Austin and say, you've got too many kids. It's happened in Whole Foods. It's like, listen, you're a radical jackass. Get out of my face. You sick freak cult member. You eugenics punk. Well, there are too many people. Then go home and blow your brains out. Oh, you don't do that. Go home and take a bunch of pills. You eugenics-loving pieces of filth. Get out of my planet. This planet belongs to people that want to build a better civilization and have a great future for our progeny who love life. And all of you that say it's your planet, you're protecting it by trying to reduce the population and trying to save the earth, you're the people with all the open-air genetic engineering, toxic waste dumping, and all the super science experiments you're doing that may destroy the planet. I've studied it, and you're the danger. If you go up to Infowars.com, we're launching Operation Paul Revere. You got 2 more months to make your short film or long film and win $115,000. But your entries are going to be featured on Infowars.com, on our YouTube channel, on the Nightly News. So it's a film festival. I mean, this is the equivalent of the Cannes Film Festival or something. It's so big. It will get media attention. You make a film about liberty and fighting tyranny, fiction, nonfiction, whatever. You can win $115,000, 3 prizes, $100,000, $10,000, $5,000. And then the top people that enter, even if you don't win, you get a shot at working at Infowars.com. And Alex Jones producing your films, your feature films. So it's on. That's up at Infowars.com. Huge online film festival launched. New special report, 20 minutes long with myself and David Knight. And it's also for people to follow the rules. We've got a lot of great entries, but most of them don't follow the basic rules that you can figure out. Of course, we'll get the very best entries right up. Got 2 more months. Let me see. March and then April. April 30th got to be in. I have 2 months to judge them, play them on air, play clips. And it's going to be very, very exciting. So be a big part of that. Infowars.com/contest. Infowars.com/contest. And David Knight is showing the overall contest. I am judging it. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.